So, folks, we just had a wild weekend. We clearly had bank runs. We now have regional banks cracking. We had bailouts. One of the things that I am now thinking about, and I don't know the answer of, so we're going to talk about it with Taylor from Life Goal Investments, is the notion of a soft landing, hard landing, or no landing. Right? All of that may have changed. All of that may have changed. But if I were to summarize where most people were last Monday, so pre-crisis, I would probably articulate that 50% of folks thought soft landing was possible. 30% were probably no, we got to have a hard landing, and 20% were no landing. I think all of that is changed inside of a week. And I don't even have an opinion yet. It'll be formed in this conversation. So Taylor, what do you think of where we were versus where we are?
Yeah, so where we were, the market narrative, the prevailing wind was there's a chance we can avoid a recession and bring inflation under control. I think that has dissipated some, or at least the probability of that has come down meaningfully over the past 3 days with the banking meltdown that we've seen. I personally have been in the camp that we likely do not avoid a recession, and I probably put that at about 90%. That was even prior to this conversation and what's going on in the banking sector right now. So listen, like if you look at what's going on in the market right now, there's three like overarching things that are playing out. So one, inflation's out of control. So inflation got to 9.1 last June. Inflation has never been above 5%, never in our history, with our ability to bring it down and not cause a recession. So like that is what it is. Now, the argument to that by a lot of folks is, Taylor, look at the unemployment rate. Look at our employment market. It is so damn strong. We can't possibly enter a recession. My rebuttal to that is if you look at every one of our recessions, that's called the ultimate lagging economic indicator.
It's the last domino. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Every one of the recessions that have start at trough unemployment rates. Unemployment rates are at their lowest point as the recession starts.
Yeah.
Correct. And we just saw a minuscule tick up in unemployment rates last week.
3.4 to 3.6.
3.4 to 3.6. Exactly. And then the other kind of comment that I get all the time is, yeah, but the market is a forward leading economic indicator, and we already see a recession coming. And if you look at the data with that, the market does foresee recessions coming and starts to trade off because of it. But generally, the market does not bottom until 2/3 of the way through a recession. So it does bounce before the recession ends, but it comes 2/3 of the way through that recession. So the argument that we've already seen, lows and we're going to move up here, even in the face of a recession, is a ridiculous argument, in my opinion.
Yeah. So when I look at those situations, I actually go back to consumer behavior, right? As an economy that's 68% consumers, as someone who can look at all the econ data, I always, when in doubt, I go back to the consumer.
Totally
agree. When I think about this last week, pre this crisis, I'm like, generally speaking, still spending, jobs are plentiful, right? I'm in the Valley, people getting laid off, but they're getting new jobs. Maybe they're not paid as much, but they are employed, right? Really quickly.
Sure.
My thoughts were, and I've said this on my channel, right? I think there is a recession coming, but it's been delayed. It'll be 2024. That was my thinking.
Yep.
Given what happened this weekend, given what appears to be happening at the regional banks today and that giant sucking sound we talked about in the first phase with cash going to the big banks.
Yep.
I think consumer psychology was damaged today.
No doubt.
And, that can lead to capitulations. It will certainly lead to less consumption. And, it's quite possible that the recession officially starts Q2, right? We're at the end of Q1. I think we have too much data. It won't be this quarter. But I think consumer psychology was damaged this weekend.
Totally agree.
I don't think the bailout changed it. I don't think the president coming on TV saying everything is good in a 90-second video is helpful. So I think consumers were damaged this weekend.
So let me add one thing that I've been speaking about a lot. And again, I know I'm being negative, right? But I'm also trying to be honest. So, and all of our social media stuff has been relatively negative lately. And I'm like, guys, I don't want to be negative with you. I will report great news when it's deserved. It's just not right now, in my opinion. And the one thing when it comes to the consumer that has shown all of this strength is a meaningful depletion in savings. So savings rates right now in the United States, household savings rates are at 3%. That's the lowest point outside of one other time that we've seen since 1960. So what
Yeah.
we've seen here is inflation is eating away at people's savings. They aren't able to take home and put away that 8 to 10% that they have historically been on average. And now wage growth is not keeping up with inflation. So you have real negative wage growth right now
Yeah.
when you account for inflation. So if you look at the consumer and say they're going to be the driver, they aren't able to save money. They're spending everything they have right now. Incrementally, how can they add to that? We're at the lowest savings rate we've seen since 1960, outside of one at a time. So
Yeah.
it's one of those things. And again, I've been beating a negative drum here, and the stocks are up again today. And I look at it and go, okay, maybe, but I think this is probably a short-term bounce, and I think we probably get more downside.
Yeah. The other thing, just to kind of echo that, not only do we have record low savings rate, but I think we are just about to print $1 trillion in credit card debt.
Yep.
And again, I think I've said it over time, people are out, they're not shopping for cardboard boxes anymore. They're going out for services and travel and, all of
Yeah.
that. And that's credit cards.
And what are credit card rates at right now? What has the Fed done to that?
25. Can you imagine? Folks, if you have credit card debt, pay that stuff off.
How does it continue? How do people, I understand, like, again, savings rates are down, credit card debt was piling up, but the Fed is coming after that right now. They're saying, stop spending money on your credit card. We don't want you to do that. And therefore, we're going to take credit card rates at 25. Now, they don't set credit card rates, obviously, but their federal funds rate directly affects it and is what's driven them so high over the last year.
Well, the good news is, and again, I think Powell might be smiling. This market accident, the coverage of it is scaring people, as it should. And consumer psychology says a scared consumer doesn't spend. So recession might start Q2 of 2023, which was not my call a week ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And you don't know you're in a recession until 6 months after, when they print it and say, officially, we're in a recession. And a lot of people say right now, like, it feels like we're in a recession right now. And I think that I feel really bad. There's two camps of people here that one I feel really bad for, and one I want to punch in the face. So the camp I feel really bad for are the people making minimum wage.
Yeah.
And really struggling because
yeah.
they're getting squeezed so much. Like, gas prices shooting back up recently has caused a real stress on them. They are not work from home candidates. They have to go in every day. And if it takes an hour's worth of wages to get them to and from work, that's really meaningful. And the other camp is the people I want to punch in the face that are out there driving up restaurant prices, flying places, and doing things. It's fine if you can afford it, but if you're putting that on credit cards at 25%, you're crazy. You can't do this fiscally. You have to be more responsible.
Yeah.
And that's the one the Fed's trying to correct. They're not trying to correct the lower end of the market. They can't do anything there. And it's unfortunate that some of them are going to become unemployed because of this.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, Taylor, you do an amazing job educating, keeping it real, being honest. How can people follow you?
Yeah, follow us at Life Goal Investments. We're on both Instagram and TikTok. We do a little different stuff on both, so follow us on both.
Yeah, do me a favor, folks. If you reach out and follow him, tell him you came from One Rental at a Time. I want him to know his hour with us each week is valuable.
So many people have done so. Appreciate you, Michael.
All righty, buddy. Thanks.